Good morning, everyone. These are the detention hearings for the 323rd Judicial District Court of Tarrant County, Texas, the designated juvenile court for Tarrant County. The Texas Supreme Court, in cooperation with guidance provided by the Office of Court Administration in its 24th emergency order, has continued its order that all Texas courtrooms be closed to the general public. However, in keeping with the spirit of the open courts provision of the Texas Constitution, these hearings are being broadcast live on YouTube. Anyone who may be watching, rebroadcasting, or recording part or all of these hearings is expressly forbidden. Violation of the court's order may subject you to civil and/or criminal contempt proceedings. All right, are you Kwame Bolden?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bolden, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing to determine whether you should be released from detention or remain in detention. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. Your attorney, Mr. Hall, is here. All right, Mr. Jones, what brings Mr. Bolden to court today?
Can you hear me okay, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
All right. On 8/31/2020, Fort Worth PD was dispatched with a service call at the Save-A-Lot at 4621 East Lancaster. Save-A-Lot reported that Kwame Bolden, who has a previous criminal trespass at Save-A-Lot, was on the premises. Upon arriving at Save-A-Lot, Fort Worth PD located Kwame standing in the alley beside the Save-A-Lot. Officer E. Moore informed Kwame that the police had been called because Kwame had been spotted on the premises and he knew he was not supposed to be there. Kwame told Officer Moore that he was not at Save-A-Lot and that he was at the store next door. Save-A-Lot security guard Edward Lee showed Officer Moore the surveillance footage of Kwame walking around in front of the store. At this point, Kwame was placed under arrest for criminal trespass and transported to the Juvenile Justice Center.
And he's on felony probation?
Correct. He's on probation for indecent assault.
And did he ever give a UA?
Yes, he did. He gave the UA after court, and he did test positive for marijuana.
Oh. And he's level 1-0 as of 3 days ago?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Hall, what are your thoughts?
I'll leave it to your discretion, Judge. I know he's wanting to get out. I haven't been able to talk to Mom or anybody on the case yet, so I'll leave it to your discretion.
Mr. Jones, does he have a parent or guardian here today?
I'm not seeing them on, Your Honor. They were given the link to get on the Zoom, and I spoke with them this morning, and I'm not seeing them on here. So I don't think they're on.
James Bolden or Ms. Thompson, are you here? All right. All right, Kwame. I don't have a parent to release you to. You're also on felony probation. You're at 1-0 now. I want you to keep level 1-0 and maintain it for 5 more business days. And Mr. Hall, if he's at level 1-0 Wednesday of next week, you can request a special hearing and we'll consider his release then.
Okay, Judge.
All right. But that's probably going to be at Judge Kim's discretion. And it's not a guarantee that you'll get out, but you need to maintain level 1-0. All right, Kwame?
Yes, sir.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey. Mr. Chavez.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Chavez, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days. This is your 10-day hearing to determine whether you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Beaver, is here. Do you see Mr. Beaver on the screen?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
All right. Ms. Rodriguez, yeah, Kareem's back. All right. What brings Mr. Chavez back to court?
He was referred in custody on August 31st for evading arrest. Police had seen two individuals checking parked car handles at 4 in the morning. The individuals were walking in the roadway where there was a sidewalk present. The police put a spotlight on them and they took off running. A short time later, they were detained using Air One. The companion is an adult. Leonardo told police that when he saw the police, he got scared and ran. The other suspect admitted they were in the car that was dumped around the area. Officers had attempted a traffic stop on the vehicle. It had several tools and other items in it, along with 3 cell phones. Video surveillance showed 3 suspects, and both the adult and Leonardo checking the handles and entering vehicles. The case remains pending with the DA's office. He was positive for marijuana when he came in. We completed a hair follicle test on Monday. We just haven't gotten the results back yet. At intake, mom did report having problems with Leonardo, that he comes and goes as he pleases. She thought he might be selling drugs, and she had found a dagger in his room.
Found what?
A dagger.
Can you repeat it one more time? My internet connection is a little unstable.
A dagger.
Okay. And she found that where?
In his room.
Okay.
And he's currently on level 2.
Oh, okay. Mr. Beaver, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, I know that he wants to go home. I believe that his mother's ready for him to go home. And of course, I know that we'd be in a stronger position if he were at level 1-0. And I don't know if the court would allow us to request a special setting if he shows that he's able to maintain 1 outstanding for several days.
All right, Mr. Chavez, you've been in detention for, let's see, 16 calendar days, 11 business days. By now, you should have gotten to level 1-0. All right. That indicates to me you might have had a hiccup or 2 in the back, and you're not yet ready to follow the rules. If you're not ready to follow the rules in the back, how can I expect you to, how can I believe that you'll follow the rules at home? You understand?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Beaver has a good point, though. You get to level 1-0, you maintain it for 5 business days, and then Mr. Beaver can come back and ask me to reconsider this, and we'll evaluate it then. But you got to get to level 1-0, you got to maintain it for 5 business days. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's going to be the order of the court. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Beaver.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Dietrich.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Dietrich, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. You also have the right to an attorney. Mr. Lofton is here. He is your attorney. Do you see him on the screen?
Good morning.
Aye.
All right, is Ms. Hall here?
Yes, sir, I am here, and Grandma is here, but she said she can't get her camera to connect.
All right, Ms. Hall, what brings Mr. Dietrich to court today?
This is a 10-day detention hearing. He came in for an out of custody on September the 1st after he was unsuccessfully discharged from the care house, which violated his conditions of release. Judge Kim had released him to go into residential treatment at the care house in the middle of August. He was detained at the out of custody. He is set for court on October the 6th. He is scheduled for a psychological evaluation on Sunday the 20th. The department's request is that he be detained until after his psychological evaluation and then be allowed to go home on the monitor with grandma pending his court hearing on October the 6th so that he can continue his outpatient treatment through MHMR with his therapist.
And Mr. Lofton, what are your thoughts?
Judge, I would defer to the court on this. We would ask the recommendations of the Community Supervision Department.
All right, Mr. Dietrich,
Yes, sir.
you're level 1A acceptable, right?
Yes, sir.
What can you do to get to level 1O?
Well, I know the fact that I am a 1A is because I was talking when I wasn't supposed to yesterday. And I mean, like, I know that's not allowed here. So from now on, I'm just going to keep my comments to myself whenever
There you go. All right. I need you to get to level 1O and hold it for me. And that way, after you finish your psychological evaluation, Mr. Lofton will be in the absolute best position to argue for your release on the electronic monitor. Okay?
All right.
All right. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. May I be excused, Your Honor?
Thank you so much, Mr. Lofton.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Mr. Evans. You missed, well, come on. Internet's running. Are you Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, my name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent, not say anything at all. You also have the right to an attorney. Is Mr. Green here?
No, Your Honor. No, he, when I sent him the detention hearing report, he said he was in other hearings and he needed someone to cover for him and he was going to notify the court.
All right, I was about to get to that. So I think, let's see. Well, Chief is not here and Larry is gone. So Ms. Herrick, can you jump in?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Mr. Evans, you have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. Your attorney, Mr. Green, can't be here, so Ms. Herrick is going to fill in for your attorney for purposes of this hearing. Mr. Victorson, what brings Mr. Evans back to court?
Your Honor, he was referred in custody by the Fort Worth Police Department on August the 31st. They charged him with unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and evading arrest or detention with a vehicle. According to the police report, the victim contacted police and reported that he had been carjacked a couple of days before, and he had observed his vehicle parked in a convenience store parking lot, I believe it was. He contacted the police and they arrived, and he said that the person driving his car or truck went into the convenience store and was still in there. When the young man came out of the car, out of the building, I'm sorry, the convenience store, he got into the car and drove away. Police followed, and the driver had just kind of drove at a slow rate of speed until it got to an apartment complex and then accelerated rapidly through the apartment complex, crashing into a car and then the exit fence. Before coming to a stop. There were some evasion techniques afterwards. At one point, he made a U-turn, but finally came to a stop. Police apprehended the suspect. Zarion was the only person in the car, and police verified that the victim gave no one permission to drive his car. He has no other history, Your Honor.
All right, give me just a little bit.
May I ask Dana a question, Your Honor?
Go ahead, Ms. Herrick. I didn't need a minute.
No problem. Dana, did he make any statements about where he got the car from?
No, it wasn't in the police report anywhere.
Okay, okay.
It doesn't tie him specifically to the robbery of the car.
Okay, okay.
That's what I was wondering.
Me too.
Do we know if a firearm was found in the car?
Not that I know of, Your Honor.
Okay. Does he have a parent or guardian here today?
Yes.
Is that Miss Keeling?
Yes.
Miss Keeling, first of all, does your son have a driver's license?
No, we're working on that now.
So what's going on with here? Does it make sense that he would be out at 12:30 in the afternoon, driving a car if he doesn't have a driver's license?
He didn't have to work. He normally goes with his stepdad, but he didn't have to work. And
we just know that he been looking for a car to purchase. So when we saw him in the car, we thought he purchased it with the $500 he had. That
he had been saving. So it's news, you know, but I don't know. It's very unlike him, you know.
I'm sorry, my internet connection here in the courtroom's a little unstable. Can you repeat that last couple of sentences for me?
It's just, yeah, it's unlike this it's not in his character, you know, and.
But before that, about the $500, that's what I didn't hear.
We've been saving up for a car. We thought he had actually purchased the car. So I'm not sure what happened between that and what's going on now.
Okay. Still doesn't make sense that he'd be driving if he doesn't have a valid driver's license, right?
No, right. That's what we're working on, the driver's ed. We're, you know, trying to get to that point.
It sounds like he may have jumped the gun. Best case scenario is that's what happened, is he jumped the gun. If I were to release him to you today, what kind of restrictions are you going to put on him?
In the house, strictly to work if he can with his stepdad. That's and schoolwork. He goes to school online for a private school, and I'm a stay-at-home mom, so I'm at home, you know, all the time.
And where does he work with stepdad?
I do construction.
All right. And what kind of work does he do on construction site?
We building houses, redo walls, fences, land clearing, all kinds of things.
Is it new home construction or rehab?
We rehab and do new home.
Okay. Mr. Victorson, how long has he been on level 1-0?
Since September the 3rd, Your Honor. That was the first day he could get it, as far as I can tell.
All right. Mr. Evans, I'm going to authorize your release. I am going to release you, though, on the electronic monitor. That is going to be a challenge for him to be able to work with the electronic monitor. So here's what we're going to do. For the first 2 weeks, he gets to stay at home. No going to work with stepdad. And as long as he is obeying mom and stepdad's rules at home, then stepdad, you can talk to Mr. Victorson about allowing exceptions for Mr. Evans to go to the work site with you during the day. But I want him those first 2 weeks to prove to mom and stepdad that he's going to follow the rules at home. Okay.
All right. Perfect.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Anything else from either side?
No.
All right. That'll be the order of the court.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Thank
Of course, it helps if I sign the right order. as we go. couldn't I?
Okay.
All right, are you Mr. Fuller?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fuller, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. And Mr. Daniel is your attorney. He was here earlier. There he is. All right. Ms. Blair, what brings Mr. Fuller back to court?
Your Honor, he was brought in on August 18th on a directive to apprehend electronic violation issued by Judge Kim. He was released from detention on August 4th on the electronic monitor. And then on August 16th, around 13:20 hours, detention intake received the electronic monitor tamper alert. Detention intake officer contacted the mother to confirm. The mother stated she was at work and could not confirm. So they dispatched the police to the home. Officer advised that the front door was slightly open and called for Christian's name several times, but no one answered. The officer stated he is not allowed to go inside. The mother made it home and advised she found the ankle bracelet had been cut off and that Christian was gone. A DTA was issued. And then on August 18th, around 00:27 hours, the mother contacted detention intake and advised Christian returned home. Arlington PD was dispatched and he was transported to the juvenile detention center. He's also pending for the following offenses: the credit card, debit card abuse, criminal trespass ×4, evading arrest, and aggravated robbery. A psychological has been scheduled for September the 20th, and the report is not due back until September the 28th. He's set for an adjudication disposition hearing on September 24th for the credit card, debit card abuse, criminal trespass, and evading arrest. And then he's set for a determinate sentence hearing on October 6th for the aggravated robbery.
All right, Mr. Daniel, what are your thoughts?
Well, Your Honor, I'm sorry, and I didn't hear what level he was on right now.
He is currently on level 1 outstanding since September 14th. Okay,
so that's 2 days, I guess. Okay. Your Honor, from talking to Mr. Boneberg also, we had a hearing scheduled last week that we passed on because he was taking the case to the grand jury for determinate sentencing. I don't know the status of that. It is a concern that there's an aggravated robbery, and he only has 2 days of being on level 1 outstanding. I would ask, though, that if he can maintain that for a certain time period of your choosing, that I might be able to come back and ask for him to be released.
Your point is well made. However, it's too soon since he cut off his electronic monitor for me to be in a position where I can trust him yet.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Fuller, I need you to maintain that level 1.0 for me. That, if you can do that, then that gives me reason to think that I might trust you if I release you again on the electronic monitor, but we're not there yet. All right. And you understand why, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm going to order that you be detained today. That'll be the order of the court. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And may my client and I both be excused?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
In court with Xander here.
All right. Mr. Henry. We have Mr. Henry. Bueller. Bueller. Jorge, do we know where Mr. Henry is?
He should be in the back. Let me give him a ring, see if there's a holdup. It'll be just a moment, sir. We're getting them.
All right.
Quarantine pod.
It's a good thing Judge Kim's not here. Smoke would be coming down the halls from breathing fire. Uh-oh, Judge Kim is here. Well, while we're waiting for HPod to get set up, can we go ahead and bring forth Mr. Hood?
Can you? There goes Mr. Henry, Your Honor.
I think I got it.
All right.
About that, Your Honor.
Are you Mr. Hood?
Henry.
All right, Mr. Henry. My name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. Your attorney, Mr. Daniels, is here. Do you see Mr. Daniels on the screen?
Yeah.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes, sir. My bad.
Thank you. All right. Jorge, what brings Mr. Henry to court today?
Your Honor, I requested this detention hearing yesterday after speaking with Mary. He's an out-of-state runaway. Initially, he advised that he wanted to contest his return to Florida. After I spoke with him, and then Keith Daniels also spoke with him, he wishes to return to Florida voluntarily to his mother.
All right. Mr. Henry, you understand. I actually watched the detention hearing last time with you and Judge Kim, and when Judge Kim went over your options with you. So I want to make sure you still understand those options. I know Mr. Daniels has explained them to you, but I got to go over with them. Oh, got to go over those options with you. We basically have two tracks here. Florida says they want you, and you can either go back voluntarily or you can contest it. If you contest it, we'll schedule this for a hearing for a later date. You'll remain in detention until the time where we schedule that hearing. At that hearing, the state of Florida will send us some paperwork that's verified by our office down in Austin. And at that hearing, I'll compare that paperwork to the information before the court. There are only really two issues that the court should consider at that hearing. First is all the paperwork like it's supposed to be? Is it in order? All the I's dotted and all the T's crossed. The second issue is whether you're really the person that the state of Florida wants. Those are the only two issues that I'd really consider. So, and if I find that the paperwork's in order and I find that you are the person wanted by the state of Florida, I would have to send you back to the state of Florida, even if I thought it was in your best interest and it was the fairest thing to do for you to stay here in Texas. Law doesn't allow me to do that. All right. But if the paperwork's not in order, or I don't think you're the person that's wanted by the state of Florida, then you get to stay here. But that's the only issue at a contested hearing. Now, knowing all of that, you can go the contested hearing route, or you can go the waiver route. What is it? What do you want to do today?
Waiver route.
All right, Mr. Daniels, you join your client in the waiver route.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right. I do not have that paperwork in front of me, but Mr. Nava, I will authorize and sign all that paperwork at the appropriate time. And so let's let the state of Florida know that he's coming back voluntarily. And once I have all that paperwork, Mr. Henry, I'll need you to actually come to my courtroom and you'll have to sign that paperwork in front of me, okay?
All right. Yes, sir.
Mr. Daniels, is there any way you can come down to juvenile sometime later today?
Yes, there is, Your Honor.
I would feel more comfortable if you were with him as he signed that. That way he's got counsel representing him and you can ask any questions.
Okay, yeah, if George, if you would just let me know what time I should come to the courthouse to be with him when he comes to the courtroom.
Yes, sir. I would say anytime before 1:30 should be perfect.
And I'll make myself available for whenever.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Henry. I'll see you in a little bit.
Thank you.
That's an asterisk. Okay. Mr. Hood.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hood. My name is Judge Porter. This is a detention hearing to determine if you should remain in detention or be released to a parent or guardian. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent, not say anything at all. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Ms. Herrick, is here. You see her on the screen.
You asked me, can I see her?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, sir.
All right.
Can you see me now that my box is covered, hopefully?
I can see you now.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Ms. Gonzalez is here. Ms. Gonzalez, what brings Mr. Hood back to court?
Good morning, Your Honor. Yes, Braden was admitted into our detention center on July the 26th of 2020 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance under 1 gram, possession of marijuana under 2 ounces, unlawful carrying of a weapon, and ag robbery. According to our report, Detective Youngblood and Detective Kidd of the Arlington Police Department were assigned to an aggravated robbery that occurred on or about July the 24th of 2020 at approximately 8:46 p.m. Victim reported that she had arranged a purchase of a cell phone from an individual she met via Instagram under the name of NUMBAA, the number 5 IVEE. She reported that the suspect arrived, displayed a handgun, and pointed it at her, then demanded her money. Victim gave him her brown fanny pack with $400 cash, an ID card, a food stamp card, and a Cash App card. The victim further stated she possibly knew the suspect from school and described a tattoo on his right forearm as Trill with flowers. Detectives researched the Instagram name, number 5, and saw a black male that matched description with the tattoo that could be seen in an Instagram video. Detectives further researched the suspect's name and saw that Braden Hood had prior criminal history that involved prior arrangements made through the Instagram, identified as number 5 to purchase cell phones. On July the 25th, Arlington PD detained Mr. Hood and another individual, which were both apprehended in a green Kia Soul, which was suspected to have been used in the aggravated robbery. The day before, officers observed guns in the vehicles. Mr. Hood was then arrested and charged with aggravated robbery.
Mr. Richmond, what says the state?
Judge, based on the offense and the information presented by Ms. Gonzalez, we'd ask for detention.
Ms. Herrick.
Yes, Your Honor. At his last detention hearing, which was with you. You stated to him that you wanted a chance to talk to his mom and his grandma, since he would likely or maybe be splitting time with both of them. His mom was here last time, but his grandma wasn't. It's my understanding that she's here today to answer any questions that you may have. And so if you do have any questions, then she's here, but otherwise we ask that he be released today.
What I wasn't aware of at the last detention hearing was he was released in October of last year on the electronic monitor after he held level 1O for 3 days. A month and a half later, he was back on a new UUMV and he was ordered detained, but he could be released the following week if he was on level 1O. He was back 5 months later on a new theft charge, failed his previous drug test. He came in, tested positive for marijuana and amphetamines. And then in April, I am the one who allowed his release once he maintained level 1O for 2 weeks. 3 months later, we're back on this new offense. I see a bad pattern here, Miss Herrick.
I understand.
I see a real bad pattern. And unfortunately, I'm the one who got burned this last time by the bad pattern. You think you know where I'm headed, Mr. Hood?
Yes, sir.
You know, at some point it becomes personal to me. It's like you're doing this to me. Are you?
No, sir.
All right. Well, I hope not. But at this point, given, 1, 2, 3 times, and the last time I got burned, we have an escalating pattern of behavior. I'm afraid that if I were to release you, you'd be back here with a new offense. I can't do that. All right?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. I got to order you to be detained based on your history. All right? You haven't convinced me yet that if I were to release you, you'd obey the rules, okay?
I talk to you. I said, can I talk to you?
Don't talk about the offense, okay?
I was going to say that I've been in here. I've been a level 1O for 41 days, and I had just got dropped this weekend to a 2U, and I had got back up to a 1O. I've been keeping my level and everything.
Yeah, but you understand that I'm still not. I mean, you held your level 1O last time when I released you. You held it for 2 solid weeks, and yet we're back here again. Right?
Yes, sir.
So this time you got to hold it longer before you convince me, and I'm just not there yet.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. All right. That'll be the order of the court.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Herrick.
Do you want me to stick around or may I be excused?
Lateef is here, so we're good. I appreciate it.
Not a problem at all. Thank you.
And we have a waiver. Yay, yes, All right, Mr. Ortega.
Nobody else is bad? Want everybody separated. Make sure it's not needed. Make sure it's
Mr. Ortega here.
Yes, sir.
Let's give my internet connection. There we go. All right, Mr. Ortega.
Yes, sir.
My name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Graham, is here. Do you see Mr. Graham on the screen?
Mr. Graham.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
You mean yes, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's treat Mr. Graham with respect, okay? All right, Ms. Turner-Hill, what brings Mr. Ortega to court today?
Your Honor, this is a 10-day for James. He was referred in custody on August the 31st for the offenses of aggravated robbery and evading arrest detention with a vehicle. According to the police report, at about 3:50 p.m., officers responded to a robbery call. The victim said that she was on her way to work, and as she was approaching the intersection, she noticed three males standing in the intersection. When she stopped, they surrounded her car, and a Hispanic male later identified as James produced a handgun and told the victim to get out of the car. James jumped in the driver's seat while companion Tyler Ledford got in the front passenger seat, and Abel Ortega got in the back left passenger seat. Officers located the vehicle around 4:25 p.m. An officer attempted a traffic stop by activating lights and sirens, and the vehicle fled at a high rate of speed and eventually crashed into another vehicle in a tree. The occupants, Abel and Tyler, both fled on foot, but they were detained and arrested. There were two back passengers with last names Maldonado and Guana. They remained in the car. James was pinned in the car and had to be assisted out of the car, and they were all taken to Cook Children's Hospital for medical treatment. After one of the people that were in the back seat, they were released. He reported that James picked him and his girlfriend up and told them that the car belonged to his mother, and they denied knowing that the car was stolen. They were not charged. James, Abel, and Tyler fit the description of the suspects given by the victim. According to the police report, they never located a handgun, and James was charged with aggravated robbery, evading arrest detention with the vehicle. He has one prior contact involving a marijuana offense back in March of 2018 with a supervisory caution, and he is on level 1 outstanding as of September the 5th.
All right, Mr. Graham, what are your thoughts?
Your Honor, he has been on level 1 outstanding for more than 10 days now. I spoke with his mother because Abel, his brother, was involved. We would like to get James released. The court wants to place him on a monitor, but if the court has concerns over James and Abel being together, the mother does have a plan with her brother where she could have the two kids essentially at home in different homes if the court thought that was necessary. But a petition at this point hasn't been filed. We'd like to ask that he be released on a monitor.
I'm sorry, Mr. Graham. My internet connection is unstable, and so I only caught part of what you said. If you could please start over from the beginning, I apologize.
Yes, Your Honor, and I'll talk a little slower in case it pops out. James has been on level 1 outstanding for more than 10 days now. We'd like to ask that he be released on a monitor. One of the concerns I think the court may have is that James and his brother Abel being together. If that's a concern of the court, I've talked with Mom, and she has the ability to have one of the boys, James, if the court wants, stay at her brother's house. So the two boys could be released, but still staying separate until we resolve the case. At this point, no petition's been filed in the case.
All right, Mr. Richmond.
It just looks like pretty dangerous behavior, both in terms of carjacking someone with a gun and then going crazy trying to get away from the cops and crashing. It sounds like everyone went to Cook's. Let's see, I know he did, and he himself had to go to Cook's Children's Hospital. It sounds like the passengers may have, or a couple of them may have. So we're talking about not only a much greater danger of people getting hurt. So I would note, I've looked at the file. I know Mr. Reed looks like he's still reviewing it. There's 40 different videos to view, so there's quite a bit to look at in making a call on this one. So I'd ask that he be detained.
Well, the state has 30 days. Mom, you heard what Ms. Turner Hill had to say. Does this scare you?
Yes.
First of all, where would James get a handgun?
Well, he doesn't own any handguns. They do have BB guns that I've purchased for them because they would go play down my dad's house, and when they would play with their BB guns, they were supervised. And I don't know what caused them to do this. I'm sorry that they did this. I know that James is sorry. I just want to bring my son home. I'm begging you, please, to give him a second chance. This is not James. This is not who he is. He is a good boy. I don't let him run the streets. Why they did this, I'm sorry.
Where did he get the marijuana?
The marijuana was when he was in school. A friend of his, a little boy that I let come stay at the house because he didn't have anywhere to stay. His name was Richard. He says that that's who gave it to him.
And this was the reason he tested positive for marijuana on September 1st?
No, the September, I thought you were talking about from when he got in trouble the first time.
I'm talking about this time. Yes. When he came in, he tested positive for marijuana again.
Yeah. The first time.
Where did he get it this time?
I don't know. I've spoken to James every day on the phone, and I see that he's trying to change, you know. Like I said, he's not a bad kid. He just made a bad choice. I'm asking you to have mercy on him. Please let him come home.
Well,
I will watch him.
Who else lives in the home with you?
My daughter, she's 18. My two younger kids, Abel and Samantha.
And are you working right now? Are you at home because of the pandemic?
No, I work at JPS Hospital. I work Monday through Friday, 7 to 3. But my daughter-in-law and my daughter who's there now, Rosemary, she just graduated school. She's home until she's gonna do her online college classes. So she's home with Abel, but my daughter-in-law who's here today with me can also go and sit with the boys until I get off of work.
And how old are they?
My daughter-in-law, she's gonna be 23, and my daughter, she's 18.
And tell me about the school that he's going to be enrolled in and how you're going to make sure that he does his classes and his assignments.
He got accepted into Trimble Tech High School, and he's going to be doing all his classes online. I can just tell you that I promise that I'll make sure he does them.
All right.
I also have my sister-in-law who's offered to come sit with them on her days off as well to make sure that they're doing good. My older boys, all my 3 older kids graduated high school from Trimble Tech. He's got good support. I don't know why they chose to do this. All I can do is ask for forgiveness for them.
Well, Mom, it's not your job to ask for forgiveness. It's his job to ask for forgiveness for his sins, right?
Yes. You know, like my dad passed away on July 17th. And for a whole month, I felt like I neglected them. I couldn't be there for them, and I pushed them away. I was grieving, and they needed me. And I feel like this is part of my fault, and I own up to it.
Well, all right. Mom, it sounds like you got a good safety plan in place. So and he has been level 1-0 for the last 11 days. I'm going to authorize his release. I will do it on the electronic monitor. Mr. Ortega, you are essentially on house arrest. You are not allowed, you are not allowed to leave your house for any reason whatsoever unless it is to come to court or to go to a doctor's appointment that your probation officer has approved ahead of time. As far as church and stuff, he can watch online church. All right. But I want him home. I don't want him running around. You're 14. You can't even legally drive in Texas. So there's no reason for you to be out anyway. And if you violate that electronic monitor, even once, Ms. Turner-Hill is going to let me know, and I can issue a directive to apprehend. That results in you coming back to Kimbo. And next time, I'm going to throw away the key.
Yes, sir.
You got me, Mr. Ortega?
Yeah, yes, sir.
If you let me down, if you burn me, it will not go well for you. So don't violate your electronic monitor.
I got a question. On the monitor, can I go like on the porch and stuff? Or?
No, you are to stay inside your house. You cannot, you're not to leave the four corners of your house unless it is for a doctor's appointment or to come to court. No exceptions. I can't trust you. Okay? So no, I'm just going out on the porch. None of that. No. The answer is no, 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 no. You may not leave your house. You got me?
Yes, sir.
If that monitor goes off one time, Miss Turner-Hill is going to come tell me, and you get to come back to Kimbo. You got me?
Yes, sir.
You understand you are on lockdown, no exceptions.
Yes.
You understand the consequences if you violate my rules.
Yes, sir.
All right, that'll be the order of the court.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Really want to sit here and bargain with me. Go out on the porch. No. Give me a break. Do I look stupid? Going out on the porch is going to turn into I'm going out in the yard, turns into I'm going down the street. How stupid do I look? Probably should have just, for asking that, I probably should have just told him no. We're going to bargain about that. This bargain is over and you will stay. Maybe that's what I'll do next time. Really? I'm in a charitable mood today, and he wants to take advantage. All right. All right, are you Mr. Rosales?
Yes,
sir. Mr. Rosales, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention, you must see a judge every 10 business days. This is your 10-day detention hearing. You have the right to remain silent. You also have the right to an attorney. Mr. Adler is your attorney. He is here to advise you. Ms. Aguirre, what brings Mr. Rosales back to court?
Your Honor, Leonardo was referred out of custody on August the 12th for the offense of burglary of a habitation. According to the police report, at approximately 6:54 p.m., officers were dispatched to a residence in reference to a burglary in process. The police report states when officers arrived, they spoke to the mother of two female victims who reported while making a run to the store, she received a call from her daughters whom were at home by themselves and reported seeing someone in the house. Victim advised officers she heard thumping noises coming from inside the residence, walked around the home, and saw someone peek into a room. Victim reported it was a person she knew that goes by the name of Stitches. He was later identified through social media in a photo lineup as Leonardo Rosales. Officers observed a TV that was moved in what appeared to be an attempt to steal a television. And Leonardo was referred in custody on August 31st for the offense of engaging in organized criminal activity and burglary of the building. According to the police report on August the 1st, Dubai Beauty Salon owner made a burglary report of her business. Video surveillance of the incident shows on August 1st at 2:42 a.m. a trailblazer driving around the salon and dropping off 2 suspects. Another clip showed 2 suspects shattered the front lobby window. 1 suspect entered the salon through the broken window, took the cash register, while the second suspect waited outside. The victim provided the name Fidencio Ruiz as being the suspect in the video taking the cash register. And on August the 13th, officer met with Fidencio in Tarrant County Jail. He confessed to committing the burglary of the salon. He stated his brother Hector and his brother's friend Stitches went to the salon. He stated Stitches needed some money, stated, "Let's hit a lick." He reported he drove Hector and Stitches to the salon, and Hector and Stitches broke the window to the salon. He reported he later entered the salon and took the register as Stitches waited outside. The detective identified Stitches as Leonardo Rosales through a photo lineup where a witness identified him committing a residential burglary. Fidencio admitted Leonardo was the same guy involved in the residential burglary that all 3 had committed. On August the 31st, officer was dispatched to a warrant service. Upon a knock at the door, Leonardo attempted to flee the scene and jump the backyard fence. He re-entered the residence and hid underneath the bed, underneath the covers. Officers located Leonardo in the bedroom and verified he had 2 outstanding warrants. Your Honor, Leonardo does have offense history from November 2018 for possession of marijuana. He did test positive for marijuana September the 1st, 2020, and he has been on level 1 outstanding since September the 4th.
All right, Mr. Adler, what are your thoughts?
Yes, Judge. The mother has a plan for him. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm telling Hector to put his hand down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Judge, although the mom does work, she, like the other case, she does have an 18-year-old daughter that's here in court today that does not work, that can be at home. I don't know if supervising, but at least telling Ms. Aguirre if there's any violations, if anything's going on. So I would ask the court to release him on the electronic monitor under strict house arrest lockdown, as you said earlier.
The difference between that last case and this case is Hector has multiple involvements. So if Hector, put your hand down. There's nothing you can say that's going to help you right now. I'm going to order his detention today. Mr. Adler, if you think you can convince Judge Kim to authorize his release, then you can ask for a special setting in front of Judge Kim, but no, not today.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Is Brandon
Present.
Yeah, he's here. All right. Are you Mr. Simon?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Simon, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into detention and initially detained, you must see a judge every 10 business days thereafter. This is your 10-day hearing. You have the right to remain silent, not say anything at all. You also have the right to an attorney, and your attorney, Mr. Newman, is here to be your counsel. All right. Mr. Lewis. I saw Mr. Lewis. There he is. Mr. Lewis, what brings Mr. Simon to court today?
Mr. Lewis, you're muted.
All right, Bob, let's get you unmuted. There we go. All right.
Your Honor, this is a 10-day for Kelvin. He was originally referred by North Richland Hills Police Department on July 20th on charges of unlawful carrying of a weapon, theft of firearm, and evading arrest. According to the police report on that date, police were called regarding 3 suspects in front of an apartment complex handling a gun and leaving the scene in a vehicle. Police en route to the scene saw a vehicle matching the description of the suspect vehicle, pursued it. There was a brief period of several blocks of the car refusing to stop, at which point it did eventually stop, and all 3 occupants fled the vehicle on foot. 2 of them leapt over backyard fences. Police set up a perimeter, and the youths were spotted by police taking off in different directions. Kelvin was pursued on foot by 2 officers, one of whom reported seeing him allegedly remove a black handgun from his right side pocket and throw it to the ground behind him, where it shattered into pieces. He was located hiding in a manhole cover, complied with commands to come out, but immediately tried to run again, and he had to be taken down to the ground by officers. Police ran the serial number on the handgun that Kelvin had been allegedly in possession of. It was reported as stolen, and they found 1 round in the chamber. And also the vehicle that the teenagers were driving was also reported as stolen. Kelvin,
and he has been, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Warrant for runaway from Dallas County when he since rescinded that warrant, but he is on active supervision in Dallas County.
And he has been level 1-0 only for the last 2 days.
This time, he has reached level 1-0 in the past and maintained it. This time, it's only been for the last 2 days.
All right. Mr. Newman.
Well, Judge, we are set for Monday on this case. I think we are going to resolve it in a way that will result in Dallas County handling the disposition. I do think that my client has exhibited appropriate behavior on average back in the detention. I don't see a family member on the Zoom, though. So I don't know if we could release him if we were able to.
All right. Mr. Simon, either I or Judge Cherry will see you on Monday, but for now,
I'm here.
Okay. Thank you, Mom. But regardless, the runaway, the previous supervision in Dallas.
Yeah.
Only level 1-0 for the last 2 days. I'm not convinced if I release you, you'd actually come back to court, Mr. Simon.
Okay.
So I think he's got to stay here, okay?
For how long?
Well, we have court on Monday, correct, Mr. Newman?
Yes, Judge, at 9:30 a.m.
So we will see you on Monday.
Do you want me to come in?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll see you then. All right. Thank you, Mr. Simon. That's going to be the order of the court.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And last but not least,
How you doing, Judge?
better than I deserve, Mr. Adenishi. How are you?
I'm good. Can
All
I
right.
have your permission to visit to go to the porch?
No. No porch visits today. Porch is off limits for everybody. All right, are you Mr. Walensky?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Walensky, my name is Judge Porter. The law says when you're brought into our detention facility, you must see a judge within 2 business days. So this is your initial detention hearing. Let me let you know, you have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. If there is something you do want to say, please do not blurt it out. Instead, wave your hand back and forth like this. I'll create a private internet chat room for you and your attorney to talk about what you want to say. That way he can advise you on whether or not you really should say it. Now, I've appointed Mr. Adeniji to be your attorney. Do you see Mr. Adeniji on the screen? His is the screen marked Lateef.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Ms. Blair,
Yes,
what
sir.
brings Mr. Walensky to court today?
Your Honor, Xander is a 14-year-old male who was brought in custody on
on September 15th as a runaway by North Richland Hills PD. Per the report, on September 11th, officers were dispatched in regards to a runaway. The mother advised that Xander was dropped off that morning by Halton PD officer. The mother stated Xander got upset with her and ran out of the house again. The mother advised she did not give him permission to leave. The mother advised that Xander had not been attending school. On September 15th, the mother advised Xander was found at his friend's house by North Richland Hills PD. Officers called the supervisor here, Mr. Velasquez, regarding Xander being a habitual runaway. Officers were advised to bring him into the detention center. North Richland Hills officers advised that Xander is a habitual runaway, making him a high risk. He is also pending for aggravated assault with deadly weapon that happened on March 31st of 2020. That was referred out of custody. According to that report, on March 17th, police responded to a call of juvenile being threatened with a knife at Walmart. When police arrived, they observed 5 juveniles walking. The police recognized Xander from previous calls. Xander was searched and found to be in possession of the knife in his right front pocket. Xander stated he got into a fight at Walmart. Xander stated the person he was fighting, which is the victim, pulled a knife on him. Xander stated he then pulled his knife and made a jabbing motion at the victim. There were witnesses that gave written statements stating that Xander pulled his knife on the victim first. He did complete a psychological evaluation on September 9th. The results are due back on September 16th. And he's also set for a court hearing on October 21st at 9:30. He did finally was able to provide a UA this morning. He was positive for amphetamines, methamphetamines, and THC.
Okay.
And his father is on Zoom.
Yes, Dad. Mr. Kenneth Willis.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Tell me what you're thinking.
Been a habitual problem with Xander for many, many, many months. The drug usage, to my knowledge, has been going on. I know he was smoking marijuana, but I didn't know anything about the other two, or the other drugs that he was doing. This is his running away and behavior has been going on for months. Something I've never had to go through this before, so I don't know what to do or what to say. All I know is that we're doing everything we can do to try to help him, and it's not enough. And I can promise you, if he comes home today, can he hear me?
He can.
Okay, if he comes home today or any other day for that matter, he's going to take off again because that's just what he does. And he tells us he doesn't care.
All right. Well, Dad, that makes this easy. Because
I want to say this, if I could. Somehow, some way, we need to not, just, I don't know how the juvenile thing works, but just locking him in a cell and leaving him in there is not going to do him any good. He needs help. He needs counseling, and he needs to go to school is what he needs to do. Does that happen where he's at?
Yes, sir, it does. Correct,
Okay.
Ms. Blair?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have teachers that come in and teach class.
Yes.
So while he's here, he gets to go to school. If he doesn't like to go to school, he still gets to go to school.
Okay. It's been very frustrating, and I think my wife is on this Zoom call as well. It's been going on for months and months, and we've tried to get him counseling, and he'll be good for a few days, and then boom, off he goes. Don't see him for 3 or 4 days.
Do you have Ms. Blair's contact information?
Ask my wife. I think she may have. She's on this call too.
She has it, Your Honor. I've been in contact with her.
All right. Ms. Blair will also provide y'all
with the contact information for Mr. Adeniji,
They have it
Xander's
already.
attorney.
They have my information. I spoke with the mom this morning.
All right. And Dad and Mom, I need y'all to be communicating with both Lateef and Miss Blair. This court is not about putting kids in a cell and throwing away the key. This court is about bringing a whole host of people together. Defense attorneys, prosecutors, probation officers, a whole bunch of people, parents especially, to try and figure out what we can do to help this kid. We're all on the same team here. We want to do whatever we can to help Xander. So it's very important that y'all stay in touch with both Xander's attorney and his probation officer and give them as much information as y'all can so that we can help Xander going forward. Yes, sir.
I just want to say on Xander's behalf, Xander is a very, very, very intelligent young man. He's well beyond, and this is something that I think what we're trying to do here is get him back on the right path and not just lock him up and say, well, you know, we're going to give up on you. And if Xander, you can hear me, we love you and we care about you. And we want you to fulfill your life as smart and as intelligent as you are. You have that capability. And this is the only way that I feel that this can be done with you.
Judge.
Yes, sir.
I just want to find out, has he ever been on electronic monitoring before, Mr. Wilkinson?
No.
Because, Judge, I think the concern of the parents talking to the mom this morning is more about his safety. And as the probation officer mentioned to the court, we had scheduled him for psych evaluation. The report is expected actually back today to know exactly what kind of help he needs and what's going on with him. So my request on behalf of Xander is if the court will release him on electronic monitoring with the condition that he cannot even go to the porch and go to school whilst he's in house arrest, literally. I would think because his psychological problem may degenerate, locking him up in detention center pending the time we come back after receiving the report. And I don't think that will necessarily be helpful or productive.
All right. Thank you, counsel. First, I will find that there's probable cause exists to believe that the child is engaged in delinquent conduct. Secondly,
I think the dad wants to say something.
Yes, Dad.
Okay. Electronic monitoring. You just told me that he stayed in there, that he would get counseling and he would go to school, correct?
I said he would go to school. The counseling piece is a little bit different.
Okay, what does that
come later?
What does that mean?
That may come later after disposition of the case. The probation department will recommend whatever services he may need depending on the psychological report.
Okay, where's his mother?
I didn't hear that.
Where's his mother? Where's my wife?
I don't know.
Is she on this call?
I don't know.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay.
That's your answer.
Okay, Laura, I can't see you, but I can hear you. I'm not in favor of release. So what's your position?
I mean, that's not up to us, but
yeah, kind of. The judge is going to go.
Oh, well, I don't think he should be released either because my husband and I want to get him in a program. And we are working on trying to get something for him, a good program. He has insurance, but releasing him and putting a monitor on him, that's wonderful, but he's going to go again. So I'll just keep calling the police, I guess. I don't know what else to do. He's attended 1 day of school out of 3 weeks. He walks in the front door and out the back.
All right. I'm gonna help y'all out, Mom and Dad.
Okay.
He's not being released today.
Okay.
He is not going home on the electronic monitor. Xander, you and I both know what you would do if I sent you home on the electronic monitor today.
Okay.
You would get your knife and you would cut it off. Don't try and convince me otherwise. I know.
No, I'm trying to tell you.
Xander, remember.
Xander, let the judge talk.
Xander, remember you have the right to remain silent and not say anything at all. I strongly suggest you just keep your mouth shut because nothing you say at this point is going to help you. Okay, you and I both know that if I were to release you on the electronic monitor, you cut it off at this point. All right, it's in your best interest. Plus, you would be a danger to yourself if I let you go today, and I can't do that. So I'm going to order that you be detained. Mom and Dad be in touch with both Ms. Blair, Mr. Adeniji, and we'll get together. All work together in finding out a solution to help him. Okay, that will be the only course. Thank you, everybody. We're done.
Judge, before we end, may I request, is it possible if he gets on level 1 outstanding in 3 or 4 days to consider? Okay, that's all I want, Judge.
He's got a the next day. No,
okay.
This is
I'm just making a request, George. I got it.
I appreciate your advocacy, but this is the problem with having a really, really smart kid, and Xander appears to be that situation.
And I believe the judge is doing what's in the best interest of Xander.
Right. We've got to stay about 8 steps ahead of him because something tells me he's playing a game of chess and too many people are playing checkers.
Xander, I will talk to you after the proceeding. So keep whatever you have. Unless the judge wants to hear what you have to say.